Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of nematode diseases. So in this session we are going to study about some of the diseases in crop plants caused by nematodes. So the first one is root knot nematodes, root lesions nematodes, the golden nematodes of potatoes, the citrus nematode, and also the control measure for these diseases. So let us study about this. Okay, the first one is root knot nematode. So the root knot nematode, that is Meloidogyne species, are well known because of the conspicuous knots or the gall-like structure or swellings that they induced on the roots. So on the roots, they develop means the Meloidogyne species, that is a nematode, right? They produces knot or gall-like swellings, right? So more than 2000 kinds of higher plants are subject to their attack, right? So they causes lots of damage to the crop plants. So 2000 kinds of higher plants are infected by this nematodes. Losses are often very heavy, especially in the warm regions with the long growing season. So the crops that grow in the warm region and with the long growing season, they are get infected with this nematode, that is Meloidogyne species. Certain species, however, such as the northern root knot nematode, that is M. meloidogyne hapla, are found where soil may freeze to depths of nearly a meter. So here we can see this root knot like structure or the swelling in the root. They attack to the vegetable, cotton, strawberry, and orchard tree and are that get commonly attacked by these nematodes. Garden plants and the ornamental frequently become infested through nursery stock. So if they are present in the nursery stock, and when we transplant those ornamental to one place to the another, they are easily get infected, right? So they are causing lots of harm to our vegetables, cotton, strawberry, and orchard trees also, because they are present in their roots and they causes lots of damage to the root, and in turn they are causing damage to the whole plant. Root lesion nematode, right? Second one, that is the root lesion, means a lesion like structure can be seen in the root. So the root lesion nematode, that is Pratylencus species, cosmopolitan in distribution, means they are found everywhere. So these nematode that causes root lesions, that is Pratylencus, they are cosmopolitan in distribution and are endoparasite that cause severe losses to the hundreds of different crops and ornamental plants by penetrating the roots and making their way through the tissues, breaking down the cell as they feed. So they are present in the roots. So they penetrate the tissue of the roots, penetrate the root and make their way through the tissues, and they break all the cells where they are invading, right? Where they are feeding actually. So they causes lesions in the roots. Okay, we can see the lesions, the debris of the distorted roots, or we can say damaged roots. So due to these lesions, this nematode is called as root lesion nematode, Pratylencus species. So here we can see this nematode. This nematode is present in the root. Okay, so they deposited eggs from which the new colonies develop. So they deposit eggs in the roots only, and from that new colonies can develop. After a root begins to decline in vigor, means the roots are not fully grown, right? So they are stunned. The whole plant is get affected because there will be less absorption of nutrients, less absorption of water. So there will be less growth of the plant, right? So there is a decline in vigor. Nematodes move into the soil in search of healthy roots. Lesion form in the root as fungi and bacteria enter damaged tissue. So not only this, due to the presence of this nematode, which causing lots of damage, right, to the roots. So this lesion, through these lesion, there are so many fungi and bacteria that are present in the soil. So that can also enter through these lesions and they can cause a lot of damage to the roots, right? So the root rot often occurs. Actually, the whole root get destroyed. And when the root destroyed, the plant dies off, right? So the lesions from the roots invite fungi and bacteria that are present in the soil. And that causes damaged tissue. Through the damaged tissue, and the rot root often occur. Annual crops may succumb early in the season, but the perennials and the orchard tree may not decline for the several years. So sometimes we have seen that the plant that are grow annually, means their life cycle completed in a year, so they are get damaged, their roots get damaged very easily. But the plants that are perennials and orchard tree, right, so they do not decline very early, they take some years to decline, but yes, their roots are damaged. Next is the third type, that is the golden nematodes of potato. So potato plants are also get infected with nematodes, and they cause that is caused because of the golden nematodes of potatoes. So the golden nematodes of potatoes, that is called as Heterodera rostocainensis, is a menace of European potato industry. So it causes lot of damage to the European potato, right? So this nematode that infects the potatoes, the roots of potatoes. The great efforts have been made to control it. The peak-sized golden cyst. So here you can see the golden cyst, right? That dot-infested plant roots are the remains of the female bodies. So these are the remains of the female bodies. That is the peak-sized golden cyst that do not infested plant root and are remains of female bodies. Each cyst may contain 500 eggs, which hatch in the soil over a period of 17 years, right? So they can present in the soil for so long years, and when they hatch out, they give out a new nematodes. So the chemical given off by the potato and tomato roots stimulates the hatching of the eggs. So when these cysts may present in the soil. So when you sow the potato or the tomato in that particular field, so the chemicals that are released by the roots of the potato and tomato helps to hatch out the egg. And a related cyst-forming species, the sugar beet nematode, that is H. scacheti, is a pest that has restricted acreage of sugar beet in Europe. So this is again that causes damage to the sugar beet, right? So this sugar beet nematode H. scacheti is a pest that has restricted to acreage of sugar. So the sugar quantity of the sugar beet get reduced. The citrus nematode. Next is the citrus nematode, that is Tylenculus semi-penetrans, occurs wherever the citrus is grown and exacting a heavy toll in the fruit's quality and production. So that causes lots of damage to the fruit quality and production. So this citrus nematode, that is Tylenculus semi-penetrans, that causes damage to the citrus root. Typical symptoms are slow decline of the plant, yellowing and dying of the leaves and the dieback of the twigs and branches in many grooves 15 years or older. So the symptoms of this nematode infections are slow decline of the plant. The plant do not decline very fast, but the decline is quite slow. Yellowing and dying of leaves, dieback of twigs and the branches in many grooves, that is 15 years or quite older plant. Infested nursery stock has widely distributed the nematode. The burrowing nematode, that is Rhabdopholus similis, is a serious endoparasite in the tropical and subtropical area where it attacks citrus that causes spreading decline. So this is another nematode that is also called as burrowing nematode. Burrowing nematode. So they make burrow, right? That is called as Rhabdopholus similis, and that is very serious endoparasite in the tropical and subtropical areas. Okay. So they also infect, not only infect the citrus, but they also infect the banana, avocado, tomato, black pepper, abaca, and more than 200 important crops, trees, ornamental plant, causing severe losses. So here you can see the infected banana tree fallen down, right? So this causes lots of damage to the crop. And the crops are citrus, banana, avocado, tomato, black pepper, abaca, and other 200 important crops, trees, and ornamental plants. So the burrowing nematode, Rhabdopholus. So you must remember this name. Many important ectoparasites feed on the plant roots. So there are not only endoparasites, some ectoparasites are also there, which are present at the surface of the root only. They do not penetrate deep inside the root, and they take away the tissues from the plant roots of the plant. That is a dagger nematode, stubby root nematodes, trichodorus, spiral nematodes, rotilincus and helicotylincus, sting nematodes, Bellonoliamus, pin nematode, Paratelincus. So there are so many different ectoparasites nematodes. So you must remember the name of these parasites. So in some of the question, it can be asked which of the following is the ectoparasite. So 3 of the option may be endoparasite and the one that contain ectoparasite. So any ectoparasite name can be here. So you have to just remember the ectoparasite feeds on plant roots. Citrus nematode, that also infect the leaf of or a foliar nematodes. So there is a leaf or foliar nematode that infect the leaf of the plant. So that is Ephelencoids species, and bulb and the stem nematode, that is Ditelicus dipseci, cause severe losses in the vegetable and the ornamental bulb crops. So here you can see the bulb crops get infected with the nematodes. Clovers, alfalfa, strawberry, sweet potato, orchids, chrysanthemum, begonias, and some fern species are also get infected with this nematode, that is Ephelencoid species and Ditelicus dipseci species. Now, what are the control measures? How to control these nematodes? The control measure for the nematodes often include rotation of the non-host plants. Okay, the plant which are not having any nematodes that can be grown. Right. So the growing of resistant varieties, right? Another option that we can grow the resistant varieties for these nematodes, and species use of certified nematode-free nursery stock. So there are so many nursery stock. They ensure that there is no nematode present in their roots or the plants, right? So, and use of soil fumigants, that is nematicides. We can also use this chemical, that is fumigants, that is nematicide, that kills the nematodes that are present in the soil or the plants. And pre-planting or post-planting treatment. Steam or dry heat is applied to the soil or in confined areas such as greenhouse, benches and the ground bed. So we can provide steam or dry heat to the soil of a confined area, that we are ensure that this particular area is having lots of eggs or the you can say larvae of the nematodes. Right? So such as the greenhouse benches and ground beds can be used to apply steam and dry heat to the soil. Exposure to the moist heat such as steam or hot water at 50 degrees centigrade, that is 120 Fahrenheit for 30 minutes is sufficient to kill most of the nematodes and nematode eggs. Right? So we can do what? We can expose to the moist heat or the steam of hot water to the soil, and that can kill they are present in the soil, that can kill most of the nematodes and their eggs. Shorter periods are needed at higher temperature. State and the federal quarantines prohibiting movement of the infested soil, plants or plant parts, machinery and other likely carriers also exist. So we can have a quarantine that prohibiting the movement of the infested soil. So this infested soil should not be moved from one place to another, otherwise it will infect the other place plant also. Okay, and the plant or plant part should not be transported. Infected plant or plant part should not be transported, or they should not be planted to other place. Otherwise, that can infect, that can present. They are introduced to the another soil also, right? Machinery and other likely carriers are also there, so that should be properly cleaned with the fumigants and get ensured that these machinery are not having any nematodes or their eggs. Cultural practices to promote vigorous plant growth, that is watering during droughts, proper application of fertilizers, clean cultivation, fall and summer fallowing, use of heavy organic mulches or cover crops, and the plowing out roots of susceptible plants after harvest are useful for the specific nematodes. So we can also follow some of the cultural practices, right? So we can get this also help us to get rid of these nematodes. Asparagus, marigold, that is a Tagetes species, and Crotalaria species are toxic to many plant infected nematodes. So we can grow such plants where we got tested that this soil is having this nematode. So we can grow these plants in that soil. So they release some toxic chemicals that can kill the nematodes and their eggs. So this is all about this session. With this session, we completed the nematode disease. Thank you very much.